Morning.
Hey, hi, good morning.
I sometimes forget that I'm recording this. So when you watch back, you probably see me with those moments of going, before you, I'm thinking, she can't see me. It's recording, idiot.
Everyone can see you. Are you having a hot flush or have you just done exercise?
Why do I look? I thought I
No,
looked quite
I'm
grey.
wearing a fucking jumper. I've got the heating on and my Uggs on, and you
Oh.
sitting there in a vest.
Well, the heating is on. This room is really warm, but
Okay.
when we do the afternoon session, it's before the heating's come on, so I might be a bit cool. But in the
Okay.
morning, the heating's still on. I have done exercise, but it's a small room and it gets really
And
warm.
it warms up. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, no, mine doesn't do that. The heating comes on in the morning, but only for a little bit. I've switched it back on again. It's
Yeah.
actually quite nippy out there.
Well, we're really fortunate with the placing of it. Like, we have a little terrace cottage, but in the front, so it's the front. We have this weird kind of back to front
Mine is back to
arrangement.
front as well. Yeah,
Our garden is in the front,
yeah.
but we have this glorious sun trap. And so we can go, we've just been out there this morning having coffee.
Oh, you see, mine's the opposite. I don't have the sun in the morning. I have it at the
Oh,
end of the day. And our house is also back to front. We come in the back door, which is really what we use all the time. So it's the
yeah,
front door. And the
yeah,
front door never gets used because, yeah,
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 we've got those cottages.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's one of the things I love about the cottage is that we've
It's
got
so
sun
nice.
all day. So it moves from one side to the other side, and then the late sun is kind of a bit further down the garden. So we're pretty good, pretty good.
Oh, I've got the late sun right here. So I can, yeah. It's a bit cold in the morning. I sometimes have to take a chair and go sun seeking and find a little.
Yeah,
I have set up chairs and benches in sort of different areas,
yeah,
and that helps. But sometimes you just want to go out the front door and sit down because that's the view. I don't actually want to go around the house and sit on a chair in the sun. It's not quite the same.
no,
Look
no.
at me moaning. I'm so lucky. I've got a garden and I've got the option of loads of chairs and benches to sit
I
on.
know, I
That's
know.
wonderful.
Yeah, it is nice. And you often have that. I notice when you're sitting there, you've got the sun coming in. Is that the afternoon session when the sun comes in that room?
No, this is the morning here. So I'm facing the back, which is originally the front of the house, and that's where the sun comes. But everything takes place in the back of the house, which is where our driveway is, which is where we come in. Um, yeah, the sun's that way, and the sun comes up there in the morning, but there's no seating or anything over there. So yes, if I sit in the dining room table where I speak to you, I get the sun. And if I sit on the sofa, but otherwise that's the only sun that comes in. Everything else is at the end of the day. Once it moves round,
Yeah,
then I get a kitchen outside in the front, pottery studio, garden, then I get it where I want it.
yeah.
I have to wait.
Okay. Well, just because this is officially our
I
last.
know,
I know,
I
I know.
know.
It's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it
But
is actually.
exciting
I'm thinking,
too.
my God, what am I going to do?
I know, I
I'm going
know.
to
Well,
miss it.
what just to set what we're gonna do today, and
Yeah.
maybe and after this, because we said we'd have a chat after this. So if you've done it, or even if you haven't, we were going to do a little bit of bar and Katie with on your mum. But what, with your permission, what I'd quite like to do, if you're up for it, is next week we might even use both the sessions we normally do, because one of them is for me, because I'd really like your help with, you talked about the journal, how you'd like that to be different. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd personally find that really helpful,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind spending the time going through that.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that I'm also interested in, which it may not be relevant at all, but I'm kind of interested in, and I don't even know where I'm going with this. So I do this, I have this idea, and then I think,
No,
oh,
but just speak it up. We'll
Well, it's
see.
because you do your mental health training into businesses. I'm wondering whether you wanted to maybe explore a little bit of a menopause type training.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. That's something that's never come up, because that hasn't been, I'm the one who stands up and forgets what I'm saying, and I'll say, oh, menopause, and everybody will look embarrassed, or the
Yeah.
women will look knowing, and that's it. But yeah, there might be something there, because I think menopause, well, of course, menopause in work, menopause in university. I told you about my degree, how difficult it was, how I
Yeah.
wanted sort of extra time like everybody else with mental health issues gets.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there. So yeah, that's definitely something we can look at.
Yeah. I mean, it might not be something you want to do, but I was just thinking it might be something you wanted to add in or not.
Yeah.
But what would also be helpful is to maybe have, where I do my little mini trainings in the group, to perhaps have one with you sometime where we can just talk about menopause, anxiety, and all that shit.
Perfect.
That would be really cool. So I'd like to do that if you're up for that.
Yep, I'm absolutely up for that.
And then the other session, because I don't like muddying the waters. If I think we need to focus on one thing at a time, is just to go, okay, let's recap the journey. I mean, we'll do a bit of that today, but just kind of set a marker that says, do you feel like this is complete, or do you feel like you want to do a bit of, okay, now I'm at the point I want to be. Do you want to think about looking forwards with the kind of work I do, or maybe you just want to move into something that's like business coaching, which is nothing, I just don't do that anymore. And maybe we can do a bit of that today, or maybe we can take that off separately and do that next week.
We can do that separately. That's because that could be quite windy. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Do you want to do that? And we'll keep the 2 sessions as they are, and we'll use them for that.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lovely.
Perfect. I've woken up with a bit of I'm on paracetamol, so I fell asleep again this morning. I've pulled a muscle in my neck and my shoulder. This is my second day, and it's so fucking painful.
Oh no, is that because
I can't turn completely, but I can move a bit. So I woke up at 6 because I wanted to do pottery. I was so sore, took paracetamol, and then of course that made me sleep. So I fell asleep, slept till about 8:30, and Chris has put some stuff on for me and massaged a bit. But I'm going to see if I can get a appointment with my osteopath, because he's usually quite good. He's like sorts me out. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, well, I hope so. Yeah. Do you know how you did it? Did you do it at the garden centre, do you think?
I didn't think it was it. I just woke up with it. But I know that night I couldn't sleep on because I always sleep on left and right, and I change all night. And that night I couldn't sleep on my left side because my hip was sore, which I don't usually have. I've never had that before.
Yeah.
And it set off alarm bells, thinking, oh my God, maybe it's my osteopenia turning into osteoporosis. You know how it is in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Chris always says to me, you're just dying of cancer, because that's how dramatic I am. But so I had a kind of restless night. I think that was in my head. Couldn't sleep on that side, so I had to sleep on one side, and then woke up with a crook. So I'm sure garden centre doesn't help, because we have been. I've just never had it this side before. I'm sure it will ease out. I've got my massage thing. I just need to get in there a little bit and move a little bit. I think not to stiffen up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully that won't impair what we do today. So, do we want to start from scratch, or did you do a little bit of our and Katie worksheet?
So no, I didn't do a worksheet, but I was thinking last night, go as petty as you can, and I thought, there's nothing really petty. I've got 2, and I don't even know if it has to be Byron Katie, but I've just got 2 things that I want to tell you that happened with my mum. And I don't think I've ever thought about them since they happened or voiced them. And I want to tell you what I think I want to do about it. And this is not about my mum. This is definitely about me. I think it's because it's almost 4 years now since she's been in a wheelchair. She was never in a wheelchair. She was always mobile, able, independent, traveled abroad, had a car, everything. And then started getting a bit poorly, and so 4 years ago was when she started using a wheelchair, and now she uses a wheelchair all the time, and she can't walk other than, you know, 3 meters or maybe a little bit more. She has pains in her legs. She's in pain quite a lot, and this is where I think this is where what gets me. So she's in pain a lot for her legs constantly. So they're always giving her things like tramadol painkillers and cortisol injections and things like that. She also has pains in her, and that we don't know. It's some neurological thing. She says she's always had pains in her legs, but it's got worse and it's very painful. And then she has pains in her shoulders and her arms from her arthritis. So every day is in pain, and it's managing pain. So I feel very sorry for her, of course, because, you know, going from me and you like we are now to wheelchair pain or whatever. So Chris is new to the family. I've only been with him for 4 years, so he sees things clearer, and he says your mum rings around you. She's got you twisted a lot around her little finger. And I was like, no, she hasn't. And actually, he's very spot on. That she does. So she's come over twice in the last 4 years, I think 2 years in a row, to visit us here. We paid for her and for her friend who's a carer, because she needs somebody to change her nappies, put her into bed, shower her, and I can't do that. And we're in a very old cottage, so it's always been very difficult when she was here. So my mum asks for things when I think she shouldn't be asking me for something, and I give it to her when I shouldn't be, because I give it to her out of guilt and pity, I think. And the one big thing is, we got married 3 years ago. We had the wedding here, and then we went to South Africa a few weeks later, and we got married there. And my mum's in the care home. We stayed close by. We all drove to where the wedding was going to be. Mum's in a wheelchair. A good friend of mine is a photographer and took the photographs and put them in a little album for me. You know, when you have the photos, like the Vistaprint stuff, so it's a booklet that you just page over. So Jared did that for me. They're not the best pictures because he messed up with the filter, so he still has to redo them. But anyway, that was my gift. And he said, this is just a starter, we'll fix it up, but this is for now. Mum was obviously with us. Mum said, oh, this is so lovely, can I have it? So now in hindsight, I can get quite angry. I think she shouldn't have asked that, because it's my wedding. My wedding
She
album.
wanted the photo album.
She wanted the photo album. She asked, can I have it? And again, out of guilt and pity, I said yes. I didn't think about it. It was she put me on the spot. I said yes, because in the back of my mind, I thought, well, this might not be the final one, because they said they're going to touch up the photographs for me, and I can always get another one. Like, it's an easy thing to do. I can always get another one. The truth is, I've never got another one. That is the only one that I've got. Linda, his wife, keeps on saying, send it to me so we can have a look and try and sort it out. But they now live in Scotland, and I've got to get it for my mother. So I'm cross that she asked me, because I feel like she shouldn't have asked me, because it's my wedding album. And I can understand. It's got pictures of her daughter and the husband and the day, and it got special for her. So she wants, she wants whatever the word is of the day, which is fine. But I'm cross with myself that I said yes, because now I think I would have said no, you can't, because this is all I've got. But when we get the photographs sorted out, eventually they're still not sorted out, I'll make you another copy or something.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing that you'd like to focus on today, yeah?
Yeah, it's that. And another time she asked me for something and I gave it to her. And again, I shouldn't have. And I know it's about me. It's about, I'm not treating her, and I've realized this, I'm not treating her as a person. I forget that she's a grown-ass woman that had 5 children and worked and ran a household. I'm just thinking of her as my mum.
Yeah,
That's her title.
yeah,
My mum, who is in a wheelchair and can't do anything,
yeah,
is all on her own in a care home. That's how I
yeah,
see her. Yeah.
yeah. Which actually she is, and she is now. So
But she's
not
not
wrong.
only those things, though.
No, no.
Mm.
So the important thing is really not the facts of the situation, they're how you're thinking about them. That's causing, because I think you saw it, I did that little video yesterday, and it's because someone put a post on Instagram about toxic people. They need to get their shit together, and it's not acceptable to not be a grown up. At some point you have to take
Oh,
responsibility for your
no, I
actions.
haven't seen it
Oh,
yet. I don't often get time to be on my
okay.
phone.
So that wasn't, I just read that and I thought, I see where you're coming from, and I see how easy that is to think that, like, because there are people, and your mum isn't necessarily a toxic person, but
Not at all.
there are people that they just press our buttons, and
Yeah,
sometimes you can justifiably gather people around you, and I'm not saying this is your mum, and we can all go, God, yes, that's really annoying, and we can all
yeah.
share that and gather a group of people and go, yes, I'm justified in that feeling,
Mm,
which kind of feels like good, excellent, so I'm right to feel,
mm,
but it doesn't help us in the slightest, because
mm,
it's the thought, as you know, that becomes the problem. So what happened was, one, and I know you'll come up with lots of different examples, because it wasn't,
mm,
it's a repeating thought, and that's the problem. But effectively, if we just took that in isolation, it's one moment in time where she asked a question and you responded. So effectively it happened once. We've done this before, haven't we, where we talk
yeah.
about it happens once, but then the brain goes on repeat.
Mm,
And if we go right back to the beginning of what we did with the stress buckets, if we only had the, geez, that pissed me off, once in the bucket, like, bloody hell. And then we went, okay, done. It's done. I was really pissed off yesterday. That annoyed me.
mm,
But the event has gone, it's past, it's no more. But we start feeding, we go, oh, let me fuel this little thing.
mm,
It's not an event anymore, it's now a thought.
mm, mm,
And we pick it over and we talk about it with other people, and they go, yeah, oh, that was really, oh no, that shouldn't have happened. And
mm.
each and every time we're feeding it, and we're kind of like this, imagine it like this tiny bacteria in the bottom of the bucket. And when you open your fridge one day and there's
And it's
that thing that you should
grown.
have thrown out, but you didn't. And like within a week, if you really, not that I ever leave, but you know how fast these things grow.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. In a week, I have things growing in my fridge.
There's
For
this
sure.
vast life form in your fridge. Oh,
Mm.
I've created a life form. And if you imagine that's what it becomes like in your bucket, like this growing thing. And so it crowds out the space, when we've talked about it as stress buckets, that's about crowding out space that you need for other stuff, for bumps in the road.
But for me, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it in theory, but for me, in this situation, for example, I hadn't thought, maybe it's been in the background in the last 3 years, but I haven't thought of the album or anything until now, when I wanted to give you a concrete example. It's less about me getting worked up about what she did, more than I want to find a way of responding to anything she does. I want to see her as a person and not just as this person that needs pity and I feel guilty
Yeah.
all the time. I want to be able to say no to her when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm very much like the daughter, and definitely not 52. I'm very much the younger daughter that can't say no to my mother. And I have created that relationship or that imbalance.
Yeah.
Really, I'm not treating her as an equal. I'm not treating her as a woman. I'm not treating her as a grown-up. I'm treating her as my mum. That is this little precious thing.
Yeah.
Mustn't be upset or hurt or
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm cool with her. I don't have, until I sort of thought yesterday, for an example for you, we have a good relationship. I speak to her every week. We laugh a lot. Uh, everything is fine. I was going to say on the surface, but I suppose I still feel like I treat her like I'm the young daughter and she's the matriarch, and the respect and whatever she says or wants, she gets.
Mm.
And I'm not treating her as an equal or as another woman.
So why is that a problem for you?
Because of things like that. In that instance, when she asked for, because that is one of many, it's the first time she's asked for my wedding album, but the wedding album is just something, it could have been anything else.
Yeah.
That she's asked for something which isn't her fault and it's her right, she can ask, but she's asked for something and I've said yes when I haven't wanted to. That's the problem. I'm the problem, not my mother, for sure. That I recognize. So that's just one of a handful of times or more that she has wanted something, asked for something.
All right, let's get, okay, so let's.
Oh, it's interesting. No, it's so good to speak. It's so good to have someone else's perspective, because I haven't discussed this with anybody, and I can't with Chris because he just loves me to bits. So he just like, yeah, your mother's got you wrapped around her finger. It's not helpful. This is really good for you to, because I can see you hearing it differently to
Right.
how I'm saying it.
Yeah. Because I'm going to do a little bit about the work, but obviously we both know I'm not Byron Katie. I haven't been doing the work for decades. But it'd be interesting because
yeah, let's try it.
Because what I'm hearing is, and I've done this myself with the work, is a little bit of, you know, the beginning of the story and you know the end piece, you know, when she does the turnaround. And your logical brain almost persuades you, and sure, she would talk about this as ego, that you've done the work in between. Oh yeah, I get that, is what your logical brain is going, yeah, well, I get that, I go from here to here and here's the problem, but I still feel crap. Something's not gelling. So let's just see, given that I'm not expert, we'll just play with this if you're happy to do that.
Yeah, let's play and see what happens.
So let's just make sure we've got the right, so she shouldn't ask you for things. Is that the core thing? She shouldn't ask you for things.
Which is weird, because that's not really what I mean either, because obviously she can ask.
Oh, no, be petty. Right. No.
Be petty.
Stop,
okay.
Stop the logic.
Yeah, okay. In that case, yeah, if it's petty, because obviously she can. If it's petty, then yes, she shouldn't ask me for things.
Okay, yeah. Because I want you to be in this, while you're thinking that she shouldn't ask you for things, you know, you're already describing how you're treating her as if you're the younger little daughter and she's the mother. So be that, right, for now, indulge that.
Yeah, be that.
Yeah, go, no, she shouldn't ask me for things.
Okay? You do it very well.
I wonder how.
Me too.
Yeah, mothers, press buttons.
I suddenly saw your 5-year-old self. That was a very good rendition. She shouldn't.
I know, she lives over in that corner there. I get her out from time to time. So, sit down. Stop fidgeting. Right.
Oh,
So let's start with that. So so close your eyes. In fact, no, let's do something different. Go back to when you were little, when maybe she asked you for something. Let's take something from the, a moment in the childish, if you can. Maybe you can't, if it doesn't matter.
mm,
Can you think of something?
mm.
Okay. So what have you got?
I mean, I was not little, but yeah, much younger. She asked me to clean the kitchen.
Okay. So there you are. Where is she when she asked you to clean the kitchen? What's she doing?
Oh, I don't know. I think I was in my bedroom. I think she was in the corridor.
And so you were in the bedroom. You were what? Playing? Roughly how old were you?
Not that young, maybe 10, 11.
10, 11. Okay, so young.
Yeah.
So you're, maybe playing, doing a bit of drawing, perhaps colouring in. You're doing your own thing, having a nice time on your own or with friends?
No, on my own.
On your own, okay. And
Quite
you've got,
happy on my own.
right. And you've got brothers and sisters, have you? Or did you?
Yeah, two older siblings and one younger sibling.
Okay, so where are they?
I don't know. The house is. I think my younger brother might be around, but Dad must be at work. The two elder ones aren't around.
So it's
Might have
all
just been
boys, is
me and the
it?
little one. It's
You're the
quiet.
only girl.
Mm.
Okay. So your mum's in the corridor, all the brothers are out or doing something else.
Two brothers, one sister. The eldest is a sister.
Oh, okay. So the oldest is
Yeah.
sister. So you're not aware that any of them in the house. Is it a big house?
Yeah, it's a big house. I think my younger brother, my baby brother, might be somewhere, but if I'm 10, that makes him 6.
Okay. So what would your mum normally be doing in the day? What would have been her role?
She was a school teacher and she was very depressed and unhappy in her marriage, and she used to come home and sleep in the afternoon.
Okay.
She was pretty. I just remember her as absent always. She wasn't really available when she came home from school.
Okay. But this day she's in the corridor and she asks you to help clean the kitchen or to clean the kitchen.
I think it was to do it because normally we had uh, in South Africa they call them servants. Can you
Yeah.
believe it? Yeah, we usually had a woman help us, and that was there every day because that's what you did in those days. And she wasn't. I think she hadn't been there for a few days, and obviously my mum must have been struggling or whatever. So I think she wanted me to. I don't know if it was clean the whole kitchen or wash the dishes.
Okay.
It was one of
So
those.
right, one of those. So your mum is a school teacher. She suffers from depression. She's used to having someone help her with these 4 children. She's got 4 children,
Poor children.
which is
Which
quite
is
something,
hideous. Which is
help or
hideous.
no
Yeah.
help, because she's got 4 children.
Yeah.
Goodness knows where the others are. You're in the house and you're in your bedroom
Mm.
and you're old enough to do stuff. And she says, could you come and do whatever it is, wash up, clean the kitchen?
Mm.
She shouldn't be asking you for things.
Mm.
Is that true? In this moment, there you are. Is it true she shouldn't be asking you for things? And go with your gut, not your logic, okay? Just hear the answer. It doesn't.
Well, I feel like I'm an easy target because I'm always nice and I always do things.
Okay.
She wouldn't
But
have asked my brothers because they're boys.
okay, but without the story, it doesn't matter if it's yes or no. Just find the answer. She shouldn't ask you for things. Yes or
No,
no?
she should.
She shouldn't.
She
Okay,
shouldn't.
she shouldn't. And you're 100% certain, without a shadow of a doubt, again, it doesn't matter whether the answer is yes or no, she shouldn't ask you for things. 100% certain. You know that.
Well, no.
Okay, so there's a little bit of doubt,
Mm.
which suggests it's a yes.
Mm.
So she should ask you for things.
Mm.
Okay. So when you think that thought, she shouldn't ask you for things, How does it make you feel?
Cross and upset.
Okay, cross and upset.
Cross and frustrated.
Okay. So you're cross and frustrated because you're thinking she shouldn't ask you for things, even though you just recognize that that's not true. That's not true that she shouldn't ask you for things, but you're feeling cross and frustrated and upset. And here's this woman who, you know, you're just there doing not very much. She's got 4 children, she's got a job, no help, she's depressed. She just asked you for something and you're feeling frustrated and cross and upset. Now, I'm not asking you to stop having the thought, but just for a moment, who would you be without the thought that she shouldn't ask you for things?
Well, I would just be at peace, really. I would be I don't know, frustration's coming up again. Who would I be if she didn't ask me for things?
No, if you didn't have the thought. Not if she didn't ask, if you didn't have the thought.
I wouldn't get worked up then if I didn't have that thought that she shouldn't ask me for things. Because the thought makes me feel wound up.
Yeah.
That she shouldn't ask me for things. That winds me up.
So what would you be feeling instead? How would you be feeling?
I feel frustrated. Oh, this is so confusing. I can see thought she shouldn't be asking. Where would I be if I didn't have that thought that she shouldn't be asking me for things? Well, the opposite of frustration is just, I don't know what the opposite is.
So don't look for the logical answer.
Okay.
Find the feeling. I know this is difficult, and it suggests when it's difficult, I find that maybe there's another, like you want to jump into another thought. There's a thought beyond the thought that needs to be dealt with. Yeah.
If I didn't have that thought, then it would just be easy. If she asked me for things, I would happily do it. I mean, if I didn't have that thought,
right,
she shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you find that in you just for a moment? Can you find that in that 10, 11-year-old person? Just find that feeling.
I don't know if the 10-year-old can. The 52-year-old can. When you're 10, you just want to go play. You certainly don't want to clean the kitchen. I mean, if I'm 10, I could grumpily accept it. I can accept it as an adult. I can see that that's fine, that she can ask me for things. That's her right to ask me for things. No,
What's
layered.
It's layered, is it?
Fucking hell, yeah.
What about, let's just shift it slightly from, you know, is it true, is it not true? Let's just go back to she shouldn't ask you for things for a second. I know, Bar, in case you wouldn't do this, but hey, I'm not her.
Yay!
She shouldn't ask you things, but she does anyway. She does anyway. So I'm kind of doing a bit of Bar. So effectively, I know how she would say that's her job. Because that's what she does. Like, that's the truth of it. She does. And so to ask to have the thought she shouldn't is like saying to have the thought that water shouldn't be wet.
It's ridiculous because she does. I mean, how can I ask her not to? She does.
Right. So that's who she is. That's just it. So then try to go back in and see whether you still find the layers to who would you be without the thought?
Yeah.
Who would you be without the thought? You just know that's it. That's the fact of the matter.
Well, the fact of the matter would just be another thing you accept and you don't think about, because that's who she is. That's what she does.
So when you find that, how does that feel?
Feels good. It takes the emotion out of it. It's looking at it objectively and not subjectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels easy. I can feel my stomach was feeling like that. I had a hollow, but that just feels easy.
Good.
It's more acceptable, more, yeah, it's because that's just how it is. You wouldn't know any different because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect any different because that's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So just sit with that for a moment. That easy, acceptable, it's how it is. Now, how about your 10-year-old? What with your 10-year-old, what does she recognize when she recognizes this is just how it is? Just
much more accepting. She'll probably still bump her head a bit and feel a little bit of like, ugh, but she so just get up and do it and go along with it because it's how it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do the turnaround. She shouldn't ask me for things. What turnaround can you find from that?
Well, is the turnaround supposed to be she should ask me for things, or she will ask me for things? Because if that's what she does, then that's what she does. So
yeah,
I don't know if the turnaround she should ask me for things or I should ask her for things. I don't know. That part is quite confusing in Byron Katie's worksheets.
Or I shouldn't ask her for things?
Oh yeah, I shouldn't ask her for things, which is not true. Yeah. That's true, because if I'm saying she shouldn't ask me for things, I shouldn't ask her for things. That just sounds weird. But of course I should.
Yeah, but maybe if those things, maybe I shouldn't ask her for things that she can't give.
Yeah, because it's not just about the asking. It's really, it's she asked me for a Kindle. I just recently bought her one. It's a lot of money, but it's not. That's what that isn't an issue. I'll gladly do that. It's I shouldn't ask her. I shouldn't ask her things that are personal of her, that are personal to her. I think that's what it is that she asks me things that have got emotional.
But let's go back to the turnaround then. So okay, I shouldn't ask her for things
that are of sentimental value to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't ask her things that she's emotionally attached to. I shouldn't ask her for things that she is sentimental about.
Does that sit comfortably? Does that feel? Because this is about shifting a perspective, and it doesn't all land in one moment.
No, but I wouldn't. But then I'm just a little bit more. I wouldn't ask her for. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't ask her for something of great sentimental value.
So maybe it's not about, if you think about the things that I shouldn't ask her for, does it have more resonance if you think I shouldn't ask her for a feeling that I want to wear, if you take my drift?
No, I don't understand what you mean.
So I shouldn't ask her for things. I shouldn't ask her for my sense of ease or acceptance.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying those are the things, but maybe
No.
maybe the turnaround is something deeper. It's not necessarily about the same things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
if you give a turnaround that goes, maybe deep down, you're asking her for something she can't give.
Yeah, shouldn't. Yeah, I'm getting that. And I quite like that, even though I don't know where I'm going with it. But it's almost like I shouldn't ask her for my worth or to ask. I
Right,
shouldn't. Yeah,
right.
yeah. I shouldn't ask her for. I'd say validation because family and friends, you do want to be
Mm,
validated by
mm.
them, but at its core, where my 10 is, that 10 is mine. Nobody else. I shouldn't be asking anybody for that. Any validation on top of it that I get from friends and family off is fine, but that that core worth and that core validation should just be mine, and I shouldn't ask her for it. I kind of know where I'm going, but feeling a bit stuck.
That's fine. I think
That's quite good. That's all very good stuff. That's really just opening up lots of things for me to think about in different avenues. Because it's not about the album, it's not about the sugar bowl, which we haven't come to, but it's
no, it's not.
no, it's not. Yeah.
And that's if what I meant earlier when I was talking about the buckets and my version of things with the way the brain works rather than the way we emotionally deal with it, is even though you said no, but I hadn't thought about that until it morphs. So you might go, no, I haven't thought about that particular instance, but the
But it
brain,
shows up in different ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
because remember the pattern matching, it goes, oh, that's like this, therefore I behave and think and feel the same way. And it keeps going. It's like Chinese whispers. That's like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And before you know it, you've got a massive basket full of things, but all have the same base thought. She shouldn't ask me for things.
No, I get that now. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. And that's I'm gonna do some journaling and I've never really sat down and looked at this and spoken it out loud. It's really helpful to tell you today. I'm definitely going to do more work on it. I need to explore it a bit more and reflect a little bit of what's been
Yeah.
happening and how I want things to be as well.
Yeah. And I think I know Byron Cage would say this, that sometimes in her book she'll say, something can land today, or it could land next week, or it could land in several months.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily land in the moment. But I think, as you say, it'd be interesting to think about when your old thought was, she shouldn't ask me for things, and you move into the place of acceptance, go, well, that's just who she is. But then thinking, I shouldn't ask for things. Like, what is it I think I'm asking for from her? What's the trade-off? What am I asking from her,
I think that's the trade-off.
unspoken,
Yeah.
that my giving her what she's just asked for will come back? Where's the reciprocation I'm asking for?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Because then you can ask yourself, well, can she give that? Yes or no? The answer is no. Well, what? We're back to, okay, so that's how it is.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
give myself that some other way. And I'll either give her this thing because I can just see it as this thing, which you can do on occasion. And it's not attached to anything.
Yeah, because me buying the Kindle for her, and it's been a rigmarole getting it set up in South Africa, so she gets it all arrived and ready and loaded, and you know, it's cost me time and money, and I've happily done it. There hasn't been a fucking ounce of emotion. 180 quid there. Fine. Because I wasn't asking her for something. There wasn't this going to be this trade off.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, the sugar bowl, my photo album, my wedding album,
Yeah.
it was massive trade off there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about it in that way.
Yeah.
God, thank you so much. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being slightly channeling a little bit of what's her name? But a little bit of Katie. A little bit Byron Katie.
Yeah, because the examples you're given, if you think about them, like the Kindle, it's almost like your childish brain is asking, she's asking for a piece of you. That's almost sounds like that's how you're interpreting it. Like, no, as if she can take it, as if someone can take it.
That's very astute, asking for a piece of me, because that's how it has, what it has felt like. It's been so personal, just like this is me, like real me, and she's asking for a bit of that because she wants some of that in her life.
Yeah.
And it feels inappropriate, it feels a number of things.
Yeah.
But recognizing it's not, you know, she's going to ask, the problem is not her, it's how I'm interpreting that asking, and how, what the trade-off, what am I asking her for by giving her what she's asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to enjoy reflecting on that. Thank you.
You're so good.
You're so good. You're fabulous. I knew, I was like, that's why I kept on. I wanted to speak about this to you, because all the other things have just been, I knew that you'd be able to help with this. And that's just another step to standing in finding my voice, finding my power, remaining at 10, all those things. That's really just part of it as well. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're welcome. I mean, and it's a great example because, especially with women, if there is one remaining place where we will convert from this competent, assertive, capable adult into a is with our mothers. Why me? Why can't I do it?
It's true. Seriously, I have those conversations with her to this day. Like, oh, for God's sake, just why don't you ask my brothers? Why don't you ever ask them? Why can't they do it?
Yeah, because that's who she is. That's the generation she is. That's who she is.
God.
She's not going to change now. You know that. So now you can just be you.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah. Having said that, in the future, should we still be working together, or you want to jump back in? If it's, if you're still finding sticking points, there are other hypnotherapeutic techniques we can use, which
That's
we haven't used today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely very much I'm a very, very visual person, but I'm very kind of like solution focused, and learning a skill, like asking, having specific questions to ask, like the work, all the stuff that you added to it. What is the trade of, what am I asking her for? That stuff is really helpful.
Yeah.
That is really, really helpful.
Well, in a way, the Byron Katie question is similar, because if you think about, when we earlier on, when you were maybe at a 7 and we were imagining an 8, it's like, well, we're kind of phrasing it differently, but we're basically saying, who are you as an 8 that you're not as a 7?
Yeah.
What do you do when you're an 8 that you don't do as a 7? What do you do at a 9 that you don't do as an 8? And so she's kind of asking the similar thing, isn't she? Of, well, who are you if that thought no longer, it's like, right, what's the point of the, do you know what I mean? It's like, why would I think that? It's ridiculous.
So freeing, yeah.
Yeah. So if it helps to connect it in that way to a number, like how does a number 10 version of Rose respond in this situation? What does she do?
Yeah, that's really nice. Mm-hmm. Me and my notebook. I love my notebook.
It's interesting because obviously in the past when I've done face-to-face work in the space, no one's taking notes. And I know before I said to you, no taking.
Have people not done it face to face? I always, if we were face to face, I'd still be taking notes.
But I'm finding, other people I'm working with are similar. So maybe I'm beginning to work with, because I'm now working with people I really want to work with. Perhaps that's the kind of person that now. Yeah.
It really helped me, because I might just write down a sentence or draw little, arrows, this, and then like I hadn't looked at my notes since we spoke on Tuesday, but I got ready today and opened it up because I wanted to have it also where it's the last session. And then I looked back and, I saw something from last week. What would you do differently when you have the testosterone? So if you had the testosterone, what would you do differently? And it just, for me especially, it's a continuation because I don't remember things.
Well, yeah. There is that, yeah.
There is that, although that's what I said, I've always appreciated the 12 weeks, and we've kept on, everything we've done has been, of the same thing. It's just sort of differently and going round and round. And it's really helpful to keep on revisiting the whole time, because it's only through the practice, the redoing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't ever do something with me once and expect me to get it or to remember it or whatever, because it doesn't help.
Or any other human being, unless they're at the extreme end of the autistic spectrum.
That's true, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's everybody. We all need. Nobody learns something once and then will apply it for the rest of their lives. You need to come back and sort of revisit it.
Of course you do, because a neuron firing once.
Actually, just write that down. I was going to do it. Neuron firing once is pretty much useless. It needs to fire.
It's a one shot in the revolver. It's like, okay, that's it, done. Okay. It needs to repeatedly fire, because remember that those neurons firing are your markers in the desert. Yeah. Providing you that pathway.
Yeah. I like that. I still like that visual.
I think something else that in relation to going back to your mum, to re-ground you in the moment as well, if you're back in a conversation with her and you're feeling that kind of, she shouldn't, assuming that you might just deal with it and go, isn't that great? I don't think that anymore, and she's not bothering me. No, you can't have that, Mum. Yes, you can have this. But if you feel the thought coming in, obviously you'll get the feeling with it, because it always comes as a pair. You can reground yourself with, hold on a minute. Am I safe? Am I whole? Am I still Rose? Am I in the place where I feel like me? Do you know what I mean? Just reconnect.
Yeah, reconnect. Yeah, I think that's what it is, isn't it? Because you lose touch with yourself in those situations.
Yeah,
Whereas if you just had 2 minutes where everything stops, like freeze the screen, you know what I mean, and
yeah,
just breathe
yeah,
and connect again, you would do it differently or handle it differently or better
yeah,
or something. Yeah.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
catching me, it's the catching, I suppose we're all saying catching off guard, you know, that question gets asked or something happens and you respond immediately, whereas you get home and you think, damn, why did I say that or do that? Or, yeah,
yeah,
it's learning to catch yourself in the moment.
yeah. And sometimes you can do that. And you know what, for me, the pause is quite powerful. So a pause in that moment. The pause is really powerful in all the work that I do. So when early on, when like you're just got thoughts running all over the place and just attaching to anything is impossible. And we're at that stage of just slowly turning the ship.
Mm, mm,
Sometimes the first thing is not doing anything new. The first thing is creating a little gap, a pause,
mm,
where you notice
mm.
things not going.
But the practical application of that is different. Like if I'm at a phone, I could say, oh, just excuse me, you know, you can be, because I need to like actually physically stop just and just think. And that's why if it's a face-to-face direct question, you can get caught off guard. If it's an email or something through the post, it's easier because you've got time to sit down and process and formulate your response. So how do you effectively apply that pause
I was
when
going to ask
it's,
you that. I was going
oh,
to ask you that very question. So, how do you do that in a conversation with you? Let's say with your mum. You're in the conversation, she's there on the screen, she's talking to you, she asks you the question, she's asking you for something. What can you do?
I suppose I could say, yes, because I don't have to answer immediately. I suppose I could say, I'm going to have a think about it
Yep,
and we can chat next time,
yep,
you know, chat about it next time, whenever the next call is. Yeah. Yeah. Or I want to think about it or, you know, we need, yeah. Yeah, that would be the only way. And that would be a real step forward because by saying that, that means I'm putting myself first. I'm recognizing my worth. I'm validating myself. I'm respecting myself enough to actually say, no, I'm going to get back to you on that. I want to think about it. I'm important enough to myself
mm,
that,
mm,
that I'm not just going to say yes because you asked, but I'm going to think about it. You know, and I recognize it's all about me. It's not about, as I said in the beginning, it's not about her. You know, she must be free to ask what she likes, but I don't want to just say yes all the time.
yeah. But I think I'm hoping that the shift is that at the beginning of the session, when you were talking about this and you were doing that logical brain thing, saying pretty much what you just said, but the difference is that you kind of make yourself at fault
Mm.
at the beginning. Oh yeah, I know it's about me. It's about saying I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And no wonder you get frustrated and angry and resentful because you've made yourself wrong.
Mm. That's true. The way I said it then and the way I say it now feels very different. The emotions inside
Yeah.
feels very different. Now I see it. Now it feels like I'm saying it from a point of strength and worth and resolve that this is what I know what I'm going to do and it's fine to do it and I want to do it this way. This is how I want to respond. And it's up to me, but in a powerful, empowering way. Not
Yeah.
this is all because of me. I need to find a way of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more empowering.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Well, I can't believe it's 11 o'clock.
You fucking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Yes. I was going to say, you can do hypnosis on the pain, but unfortunately it only lasts for the duration of the hypnosis. So more can't help.
That's no fucking use, is it?
No, I know. It's not really, is it?
No, I'm going to go do some. I did a long hot bath last night. I thought that might help, but it didn't. Okay.
Right. So we'll see one another next week. So are you right if we do it that way around? So Tuesday we'll do, if you don't mind, going through the journal and exploring, just kind of a bit of brainstorming.
Let me just get my phone. Just want to make sure. I know I'm starting back at my pottery class next Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got all the paints. I can do most things here. She's got the paints and the glaze. That will be the next step for me. Yeah, I've got Naomi at 2 and Joe's not going to work. So we stick to the same time.
Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Shirley. Yeah, that's perfect.
And then actually I might need to not do that Friday. I've just realised I've got something else scheduled for that Friday.
Yeah, I might have a talk on that Friday.
Right.
Well,
so we can, what about the following, if we do the following Tuesday at 4, are you pottering?
That's better. Let me see, I've got her. I got her at 12. Oh no, that works as well. I'm pottering, but I could do the afternoon again.
Right then.
Yeah,
and we might not need the whole hour. I'm sure we'll chat.
Yeah, but let's see.
So I've got this next Tuesday 4 o'clock and the Tuesday after at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, so the dates are, what's that? So the 20th and the 27th.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And we'll use the same link.
Oh yes, okay.
Lovely.
That's really good. All right. Well, I look forward to. I'm glad this isn't the last time I'm going to see your face. I'm glad. I look forward to speaking to you next week already.
Yeah, me too. All right. Have a lovely weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. Hope the sun shines.
Yeah.
I think looks delicious.
Yeah.
All right, Shirley. See you on Tuesday. Bye.